This tutorial will teach you how to make an interior skeleton for a kitchen. So first of all, you need to make a base shape of the kitchen, then you can split it into the multiple cabinets. So first of all, let's make a new part, go to the drive, and you can open a sample kitchen to use it in your design. Here you can define what should be visible. In this case, we want to only get flat drawing. And we will use this drawing to make our kitchen layout. So first of all, we need to make a base shape of the kitchen. We can define what is the width as well as the depth of the kitchen. Okay, now we can finish the sketch, adjust the view, and use extrude to make a new solid body. So now we are defining the height for the plinth. We can name those solid bodies because now we have multi-body part, and those names will make our work more convenient. Now we're making a new sketch on the plinth. We can say that this is like a construction line. Now we can draw our cabinets. Let's set dimensions, which would be the width of the cabinet. Okay, so now let's finish the sketch, adjust the view, and make a new solid body. So we can define the height, not forget to set it as a new solid body, and then we can assign the names. It is a good practice to give the descriptive names to the solid bodies immediately when they are created. This will help you to orient in your design. So now let's make a new sketch, project the geometry of the previously created cabinet. We can use F7 on the keyboard to have a slice view. Now we can draw another cabinet block. So this cabinet block is the bottom row of the cabinets. So to make our work more convenient, we can hide the flat plan, and now we are defining the height. So it would be equal like the total height minus height of the plinth. Now we are using two operand to set the height of the extrusion to the work plane. Let's give the name to this block like bottom cabinet concept. And now we need to move the plinth front surface. First, let's snap it to the row of the cabinets, and then we need to move it back. Okay, so this two-step operation ensures that you will get the precise value. Okay, now let's draw the desktop. Okay. Because the desktop is of the fixed depth, because it's made from the profile, we need to define the depth of the desktop. Okay, and now again let's make a new solid body with the thickness of the desktop. There is a simple rule. New solid body means the new part in your final assembly. But now we are still working on the concept. Okay, so now we can project all the panels that we've made and all the bodies that we've made in the previous steps. And let's make another rectangular blocks which will represent the top row of the cabinets. So let's use constraints as a collinear constraint to adjust the width of this block, and also we can put the dimension to set the height between the top and the bottom rows of the cabinets. Okay, let's make another extrusion to the opposite side, adjust the depth of the cabinet row, set the name to the solids. Now we can temporarily hide the desktop to make our work more convenient, and we are making a sketch on the bottom row of the cabinets. It will be used to split the entire block into multiple cabinets. So we are drawing vertical lines. Each of those lines represent the separation line in between two cabinets which stands nearby. Okay, now let's put some dimensions. So we are placing the dimensions now. As you can see, it's very easy to define the width of your cabinets. It's as simple as placing the values. As you can see, you can make those values equal by simply choosing the reference parameter. Also, you can put a driven dimension to just calculate how much space do you have for the last cabinet. Driven dimension does not change a size, but it shows you what is the distance. So now we are using a split command to split entire block into the multiple cabinets. Because we already used the sketch, we need to make it visible again for the next step, and we can use split again. So we're choosing the split solid, we're choosing the split line, okay, because now we have more than one solid, we need to say which one we want to split. Now we need to repeat this operation as many times as many blocks of the cabinets we have in our design. So as you can see, it's very easy, and we already made the bottom row of the cabinets. Moreover, we can also use the same sketch to split the top row of the cabinets. There is the same idea, and we always be sure that there is the spacing in between the cabinets which matches the bottom row. Okay, we have all the concepts of the cabinets, so we can make this sketch invisible for a while. And now we can give the names to those solid blocks. Let's say this is a thin cabinet, and so on. Once we renamed all the cabinets, we can go ahead with the next steps. So for instance, let's change the appearance of the cabinets to make them transparent, to make the view clear. Okay. So now there is the cabinet over the oven. We can adjust the height of it individually. As you can see, we're using direct tool to do this. It seems to be okay now. Now let's flip our model in that way that we will see the back side of our conception of our assembly. So here we are making the back plate for our kitchen. Okay. Let's use constraints to adjust the sketch. Now we can close the sketch, go back to 3D, and make another extrusion. So we can set the thickness of the board, set the direction, and we will use the same sketch again, so let's make it visible. And let's make another extrusion as a new solid body. Simple rule, new part and new solid body. So now it's a good idea to change the names of the newly made solids. And now we can hide them for a while, as well as the sketch that we used. Okay, so now we can draw a new work plane. We'll use this work plane to make a facades of our cabinets. Okay, so now let's make a sketch on the front surface and project all the geometry that we've just made, including the projections of those work planes. Let's mark this as a construction. Okay, so now we can make a shape of our facades. It would be a rectangular shape. It's very easy to draw the rectangles. So once all the rectangles is made, we can set the dimensions for a freezer door. Okay. So now we can adjust the spacing between the top and the bottom door of the freezer to match those on the remaining cabinets. Now it's time to make a facade. Again, new solid body means new part in the future. You can make the sketch visible and then repeat this step again and again. So as you can see, it doesn't take a lot of time to make a lot of facades. So there is a simple rule. You can create one unique instance of the facades if needed. It depends on if those facades are equal. If they are, it's enough to only make one occurrence. If not, you can make those as individual. So now we can make the sketch invisible again. Okay, so now we can set this view to be a front, just to make our work more convenient. Okay, let's project the sketch. Make the projection as to be a construction lines. Now we can project some of the facades. Use F7 to have a slice view of your sketch, and it allows you to draw the shapes of your drawers. Now we are defining what is the offset from the top, which would be equal to the thickness of the board, which is like 18, plus some oversize. So in total we get 28 millimeters. As you can see, we can use mathematical expressions. It's very easy. Okay, so now we can apply the oversize from the bottom. Okay. And now we can draw another rectangle which will represent another drawer in another cabinet. So actually the same steps. We can set the sketch to be symmetric according to the vertical line. Then we can use collinear to adjust the position of the top and the bottom line. Then we can set the side offset. Okay, now let's look from the back side. It seems to be okay now. We can change the appearance of the facades to make them transparent. Okay, now let's use another extrude to the back of the drawer. Okay, and now we need to repeat this step for all the drawers that we have in our conception. Okay, so now we can make those transparent by using another appearance. Okay, it's time to use the dress up function. We can select the solid body to dress up with the panels. Now we are making a plinth. As you can see, it's only enough to make a plinth on the front and on the side, because the rest of the plinth will be not visible. So now we are making a work plane to split this plinth, because on the bottom this plinth is too long for a production, so it must be split. Okay. Now we have two pieces of the plinth. Now this work plane can be hidden for a while, as well as those remaining work planes. Okay. So now we have quite clear view of our design. Now let's pick up facades that we've just made and move them slightly to have a spacing between the facade and the bodies of the cabinets. Now let's make the plinth, desktop and backplate visible, and we can use direct tool to fix the situation with the intersection of the backplate and the desktop. So let's move the backplate because the desktop is fixed in size. It's already produced like a profile, so nobody will play around with it to adjust the depth. That means that we need to change the backplate. Okay. Now we can rename the components. Now let's pick all the components that you see on the screen, go to the Manage, Make Components. We will make a new assembly, which will be the base for the next step when we will use our boxes. It's like concept assembly. There is a little difference what we call a concept on an architectural step and what we have on assembly. Okay, so now we can show all the components but hide those which was already used. Okay, let's turn off the visibility. What remains, we need to place this entire concept in our assembly file. So let's go back to the assembly, go to the place menu, and we need to find our kitchen concept. Let's open it, use right click and choose place grounded at origin. Place grounded at origin places this component in the right location. Now we can switch the view, let's say, to gray room to make it more comfortable. That's it, our concept is ready.